But what the marketing pulpit is about is strategy. Use social media and stop letting it use you. That's one thing about a business. It's an equalizer. It's a game changer. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks act the food, got to talk about it. And one of the things you want to do as a business owner is to create barriers of entry. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more, they should be given more flexible work hours. We have to think like the successful companies. Good morning. Welcome to the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. We're not saving souls, we're saving businesses. We're saving jobs, we're saving our community. Now, sometimes, man, I have to go ahead and save a soul too. Can't help myself. My dad was a Baptist preacher, so sometimes it might rub off on you. But that's not the mission. The mission is to build businesses. We are a business development company. That is our purpose, our mission, our raison d'etre, our reason for being. So that means if you have a business, or if you know someone who has a business, you need to check this show out from time to time, because we're giving out information that's been tested, it's been proven, it's been out there. I'm not a flash in the pan experimental kind of guy. I mean, of course, you got to experiment sometimes. You can't just keep doing the same thing over and over again. But like that stock portfolio, you've got to do the things that you know are going to work. You've got to do the proven ones while you sprinkle in some of those little riskier opportunities. And we bring those to the table also. So this is the show you want to tune in if you are a business owner. And don't keep all this good information to yourself now. I know you want to say, hey, look, I want to keep Gatewood to myself so I can beat everybody else. That's not part of the Gatewood formula, ladies and gentlemen. We believe in reciprocity. We believe in sharing. We believe in lifting all boats. That's one of our core principles. I'm Robert Gatewood. I'm a business developer by trade. I've been at this for a minute, probably 30 years or so as a business developer and my own company, Gatewood Marketing and Web. I'm the president and CEO, and we started that company quite a while ago. I'm also a professor at Prince George's Community College, where I teach marketing and business development and networking and social media. I also consult with the Small Business Administration. I help them in the 8A program. Been doing that for a while. I've also written a couple of books, one called Played in Full, one called Smarter Than the Boss. And to find out more about me and my company, go to marketingpulpit.com. You can find out past shows. Matter of fact, you can watch the show live there on the homepage. In addition to the other platforms where we broadcast, we're broadcasting on YouTube, where we have a very thriving channel over there. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook Live. And you can also get some of the snippets on Instagram. And just this month, we have launched our podcast. So go to marketingpulpit.com. You'll see the button up there on the homepage. It's up in the navigation bar, and just subscribe to the podcast. And once I put up another episode, you'll be notified. And it's very convenient for people who are driving, people who are on treadmills, people who are working out. Sometimes you can't watch a video. I mean, as much as I like for you to sit here and look at me, I mean, I think the information is more important. So just go to Marketing Pulpit and you'll get the podcast. You can also, if you're on Spotify, you can search and you'll find the podcast there. If you're on Apple, iTunes, you'll find the podcast there. If you're on iHeartRadio, you'll see it there. If you're on Google, you'll find it there. And Facebook, you can even put podcasts now on Facebook. The key, ladies and gentlemen, is to get this information to business owners. I'm not just doing this for you to make a quick buck. I'm doing this to help our community build this economic foundation that's so pivotal in the survival of a community. Now, our community has some challenges. That's nothing new. And nothing I'm going to say here today is going to solve those challenges tomorrow. But one thing that I do hope is that as we continue to build our economic foundation, we continue to hire our young people, provide them opportunities and jobs. Many of our older adults now are looking for ways to continue to supplement their income into their golden years. Many of our young people who are just starting their careers, they need opportunities. Our community should be able to provide those opportunities to the members of our community. And it makes no sense that we should have to go to other communities looking for opportunities to provide for our people. That's just called survival. So, I believe in everybody it's a big community out here, the global community. We're part of that as well. But there are some things that are specific to our community that we need to address. And the best way to do that is to build a strong economic foundation. So thank you again for tuning in. And like I said, go to YouTube and subscribe to our channel. And go to marketingpulpit.com. You can get all of the shows. And of course, subscribe to our podcast. We have an exciting show today. I'm going to ask you this question. How in the world can you get more sales while reducing the number of clients? All right, marinate on that for a minute. I'm going to tell you how to do it. I'm going to tell you why you might consider it. Less clients equaling more sales. Now you're going to say, look, Robert, you need to get your head examined. You can't do that. Well, indeed you can. Matter of fact, I'm doing it. I'm in the process of doing it right now. And I'm going to tell you why it may be part of your strategy, depending on your purpose, your goals, and what you're trying to do as a company and as a business. And good morning, Marilyn D. Comedian Platinum. Glad to see you this morning. As always, glad to have you tuning in. And everybody else who's tuning in on the show today. I see you out there on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. Let's see here. Yep. Yeah, I see you. Facebook Live. And when you put your comments in this feed, we can actually engage with you. I can see the numbers, but I don't really see who you are until you actually put your comments on the feed. And then, of course, we will have a conversation. If you have questions, some people have short marketing questions that we can actually address on this show. If you have something that's been burning, it's like, I wonder, how do you do such and such? How do we do this? I was speaking at the National Association of Black Business MBAs the other day, and we had a forum. And man, that feed was lit up with people asking questions. Like, man, they're going to test the brother today. Let me tell you something, Jack. I haven't found a question yet that could stump this fella here. I fly without a net. I have no problems with taking on these tough questions because I have to deal with it every day. I don't just sit here and talk this stuff. When this show is over, man, I flip my head on backwards, roll up my sleeve, put on my black t-shirt, and I get to work. Because that's what I do. I like to keep myself sharp. I like to make sure this information that I keep bringing you is relevant, that it's been tested. Also, we're going to talk about some items that are happening in the news. We're going to talk about continuing war in the workplace. These lockdown itis hasn't left us yet, even though the pandemic has abated. I guess it depends on who you ask, though. Over in China, man, they're starting all over again. Man, this thing is tough. This is a persistent pandemic. This thing does not want to leave us alone. Let's see, what else is going on? Let's talk about what's happening in the news. But before I get to that, I was thinking the other day. I'm always thinking. I told you, I don't hardly sleep. I should be sleeping when other folks are sleeping. I'm sitting there, laying in the bed, staring up at the ceiling, and these thoughts just running through my head. And I'm always thinking about what a wise person said some time ago. Those thoughts just come to me. Let's check this out. That wise person once said, a golden key can open any door. Think about that. A golden key can open any door. Now, what that portends is that if you have the right tools, you can remove just about any obstacle. When you think about it, that's what that golden key can open any door. That's what that actually is trying to say. If you have the right tools, the right equipment, the right set of skills, obstacles need to get out of your way. And that is true. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody's key is the same. The key for one person may not be the key that opens the door for the next person. What you, as an individual, have to do is to find out what is your golden key. Some might call this, what is your unique selling position? What is it that makes you unique? What is it about you that opens doors that might be closed to others? What is your golden key? Now, the sooner you figure that out, the more doors you're going to open, because we're going to apply that 80-20 rule. That 80% of things that have been not opening doors, you're going to cast that aside, and you're going to focus on that pivotal 20%, and you're going to start to see some doors open. Now, you might ask yourself, wait a minute, Gatewood, how do I know what my golden key is? Well, think about it. Unless you just was born yesterday, you can kind of, if you don't have the KPIs, the analytics, the insights, because this is fairly new, thanks to the internet, but you have what we call heuristics, experience, that can tell you what has worked for you in the past. Like, for instance, I know I have a sense of humor. I have a good personality, and I work really hard. I believe in good service. I don't like bad service. It's like anathema to me. So I have a couple of keys, but you have some keys too. Might be your smile. Some people, I just look at them and they just have that smile that just like make you melt, because I mean, you're not like a romantic kind of way, but I mean just a smile that's part of their personality. That's the key that will open some doors. Somebody walking around with a frown all day long, it's going to close some doors and lock others. You may have some type of fiscal acumen where you just chart with numbers and you can quote numbers just like that off the top of your head. That could open some doors. Could be your vocabulary. How you might be Shakespearean in your words and your delivery. And not to the point that you're verbose, but you may be able to articulate things in ways that others cannot. And sometimes that can open your doors. It could be your bedside manner, just the way you deal with people. People always talk about some doctors don't have good bedside manner, that they just rush people in and rush them out. That may not be you. You may be the person that takes that time to explain and be empathetic and help people weather storms. That could be the key to open doors for you. It could be your technical acuity. It could be your philanthropic attitude, your ability to help others. But it boils down to, ladies and gentlemen, your individuality. What is it about you as an individual? What is it that's different, that's going to open those doors? You have that golden key. Many times we haven't discovered it. Sometimes it's tied to our purpose. Sometimes we don't get it until we self-actualize. We get it later in life. But the sooner you discover it, just like your purpose and a few other things, the better off you are. So I'm going to say this. How am I going to wrap this up? I know I start to sound like a broken record on this one, but you do have to tap into that purpose, because in that purpose, you're going to find that golden key. You're going to find that golden key, and you're going to open some doors. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about some items that are in the news. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we are here every Friday at 10:30 a.m. bringing you the good marketing gospel. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a moment. Because, let's see here. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more, they should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop in some period, but as long as folks bag the food, got to talk about it. Because business ownership is like it's a game changer. It's an opportunity that's available to most. You got to get some, have those 4 ingredients. You got to have the mindset. You got to have a mission. You need a market to sell it to, and you need some money. But if you have those 4 ingredients, I say this opportunity is available to you too. All right, welcome back to the show. I am Robert Gatewood, and I am here every Friday, right here on the Marketing Pulpit Show. We've been at this now for, 2010. How many years is that? It's 12 years. Wow. It's quite a while. We got our start over at Radio 1, over at Miss Kathy Hughes' place. Very brilliant young lady. Matter of fact, they named the School of Communication over at Howard University in her honor. Met some nice folks over there at Radio 1. Miss Karen Jackson and Ron Thompson and Lonzo, the engineer, and we still in touch. I may sit back over there at some point. Right now, we're trying to get through this pandemic to see what it's going to do. But in the meantime, the show must go on. We're on these different platforms. Tune in to Facebook Live. We're on YouTube, have a very thriving channel. So go to YouTube, just go to youtube.com/C/marketing pulpit and subscribe. We're also on LinkedIn. We're also on, of course, Facebook Live. And you can get some of the repeats on Instagram. Also, subscribe to our podcast. You can get all that information at marketingpulpit.com. Well, we have a very comprehensive and engaging website. It shows, have a blog there. You can find out more about me and what's been going on. And you can also find me on gatewoodmarketing.com. That's where our business development website, where we help people with their marketing, branding, social media, all that good stuff. We have a very, very lot of services. And we actually have a very well-known clients. So I think it's the reason we don't get like tons of clients, because a lot of people come to us, they want us to make them rich overnight, and it ain't gonna happen. They get impatient. Like, man, I've been here a month now. I'm not a millionaire yet. What's up, Gatewood? I'm sorry. I just wish I could. I don't think you really want that, actually. If something comes too fast, it's just not gonna last. So we take that methodical approach, and the folks that have hung in here, man, we talking about the Joe Madison of the world. We're talking about the Neely Fullers of the world. We're talking about the BLEs of the world. These are companies that they have a purpose, a plan, they stuck with it, and they are rolling. I'm not going to take all the credit for it, but I didn't hurt. No, I didn't hurt. Now, we're not actually out here recruiting clients, because later in the show, I'm going to tell you a little secret on how you can get more sales with less clients. Yeah, Gateway is a little radical. Now I told you I take that safe route, but some things have been tested. Later in the show, I'm going to tell you how you can get more sales while your sales are increasing, your number of clients are decreasing, and the benefits. People say, Gateway, how you look so young, man? You're 100 years old. Well, I had to ditch some of these clients. The more clients I ditched, the younger I became. I'm telling you, boy, you're gonna work yourself to death trying to sell it to everybody. It's not enough hours in the day. You don't have enough patience, psychic energy. So I'm gonna tell you how to I maybe give you the key on how to live longer. We're gonna talk about that coming up 11:15. But first we're gonna talk about some items in the news. People are finding out this real estate market is really doing some phenomenal things. Some people are making more money right now with their real estate investments than their salaries because they are able to rent them out. Some have the value has appreciated in such a large degree that this market has really gone off the chains. So if you're now, unfortunately, a lot of millennials haven't been able to jump into the market because of the pandemic, and so they're kind of struggling right now. But the real estate market is hot right now. Now, mortgage rates have risen above 4% for the first time since 2019. So, of course, that's what you expect when something is hot. Inflation and things start to take off. Sometimes they do it to cool down the market. But these interest rates has impact on all of us. For instance, right now, the average rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage is above 4% for the first time. That could push some home buyers out of the market. So you first-time home buyers, it's going to get a little tricky, right? A little trickier. Now, of course, credit card companies, they're not going to miss out on the fun. They're going to start pushing up their rates as well. Man, nothing happens in a vacuum. I'm telling you, everything affects everything. Rates on car loans, that Chrysler 300 you were looking at. Well, you might think about how that loan, that car note is going to be affected when you go out here now because of what's happening with the money. You know, I was on this tip for a long time. I wouldn't buy a new car for anything. It's like everybody taught me all my life to go out here and they said the minute that car drives off the lot, you lose 25% of the value, which is true. I'm not going to downplay that. But boy, let me tell you, you better get the right used car, which apparently I did not have a knack for. I mean, I drive a used car off the lot before I can get home good. The wheels are rolling down the street and I'm sitting still. So I'm kind of 50-50 on that one. Now, the last car I bought, I went ahead and bought a new one. And I must admit, I have not regretted it yet. I mean, I even took out a loan, got me the best interest rate I could get. And I said, I'm going to look at this as an investment because I need a car to get back and forth to work. I can't be parked on the side of the road or calling the tow truck every 5 minutes. That's going to cut into my time, which is too valuable. So you have to make that decision based on what you're doing at the time. All right, what else is going on? Here's a new pastime at work. People are Zillow surfing. In other words, they're sitting there looking through homes. This has become a new American pastime. People are browsing real estate listings, not necessarily to buy them, but they're sitting there just looking at homes, and they're doing it on company time. So, of course, boss man or boss woman is not too happy about that. They're just swiping through the homes. Sometimes people do it for a mental break. So I guess it's like these cooking shows and these real estate shows and these home improvement shows you sit there and watch all day on TV, on cable. And between those shows, you can go do a little Zillow surfing at work, which seems to be a pastime right now. We still have a war going on in Ukraine. The civilian death toll is climbing. This has become a hot button. This is a tough one. I mean, the president is called the president of Russia a war criminal and a thug I mean, he might be all those things, but you have to sit down and talk to this guy at some point. I'll tell you, this is tough. I mean, you got people mad on one side because we're helping Ukrainians. We got people mad on the other side that we're not helping them enough. This is hard because we know history. We know what happened during Nazi Germany, during the rise of the Third Reich. We know what Chamberlain did and all this kind of stuff. They appeased Hitler, and because they appeased him, he went into Austria, then he went into Poland, then he went into France, then he went into Denmark, and then he finally went into Stalingrad when he tried to. The Russians ran him out of there. But people see parallels. And so for the people that say, well, let's just go ahead and let Ukraine fall and it's not our problem, then you start thinking of what if people, is this what, are we going to see a repeat of what happened in World War II? But at the same time, you don't want United States and Russia shooting at each other. So it's a tough one. But it's hard to watch those civilians being bombed. They say about 2,000 casualties, civilian casualties in the war so far, and maybe up to 5,000 to 6,000 Russian troops have actually died. I've already told you my position on war. I say study war no more. Just, it's got to be a better way. Let's see. Walmart is hiring 50,000 people this quarter. You've got a lot of those little blue jackets floating around here in the near future. By the end of April, they're going to put 50,000 new hires in their stores. Walmart is the largest private employer in the country, and they're about to, I guess they're going to pad those numbers. They want to, and Walmart has been one of those companies that raised the minimum wage, and they're trying to make people more likely to make Walmart a place to build a long-term career. Well, I guess that's okay. I have no problem with that. Now, Netflix is going after password sharing. I know many of y'all have those Netflix accounts. What's the first thing you do? You go share it with your mom, your sister, your soror, your frat. Well, they're saying that password smooching is about to come to an end because it's costing them some coins. They saying it's impacting our ability to invest in a great new TV and film industry. And it's testing a program that will bar users from sharing passwords outside the household. So you might can share it upstairs, or the kid that's living in the basement. I know many people have those kids in the basement nowadays. But you can't share it to your coworker. I mean, I ain't mad at Netflix. I mean, that was a nice little thing to do, but I can understand that, people just get out of hand with this stuff sometimes. So they're just protecting their investment. Is there a global oil crisis brewing? I would say, yeah, it seems that way. Oil, Russia is a major oil producer. Ukraine is a major oil producer. Price of a barrel of oil has skyrocketed, and we're seeing it at the pumps. Russia could slash its oil production by up to 1/3 in April. That's about 3 million barrels a day. Man, I'm telling you, this kind of comes on the heels of this return to work argument and working from home, where people are like, wait a minute, you have another reason now to work from home. If you didn't have one before, the price of gas. I get out there in this traffic, adding to your other woes, besides possibly getting COVID and some other things. Now you got to worry about $5 a gallon gas too. That adds another element. Now these cities are where the opportunities are right now. Here's a few of them. Washington, D.C. is on the list. Wow. Okay. Raleigh, Durham, Seattle, Chapel Hill, North Carolina, Boston, San Francisco Bay. So if you're looking to start your career, those are some places you might want to check out. All right, folks, I'm going to come back in a minute when I'm going to talk about war in the workplace. We're also going to talk about some of these stories about what's happening with Jussie Smollett. We're going to talk about what's happening with Kanye and Kim, and man, everybody jumped on this bandwagon. My goodness. I mean, Steve Harvey, D.L. Hughley. It's like these celebrities. I mean, I guess if you're a celebrity, That's what celebrities do. They celeb. So they got to get a topic to talk about. Well, the two hot topics right now is Jussie Smollett and the what's happening between Kim Kardashian and Kanye West. We're going to chime on that. Also, we're going to talk about some other items where we're seeing hostilities taking place in the workplace, which may or may not be related to this lockdown that we've been experiencing for the last 2 years. I mean, it's enough to drive people crazy as we are seeing. So hang on. We're going to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back in a minute. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more. They should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop in some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. Now, the 2022 theme of Women's History Month is women providing healing and promoting hope. And of course, that ties into the ceaseless efforts of women during the pandemic. And heaven knows we could use some more healing and hope during this time. I know oftentimes in our community, we feel that giving women and other groups recognition takes away from the contributions and recognition of Blacks. You can do both. Because when you think about it, we are represented in all of those groups. And when we form alliances with other groups, we're more powerful. It's hard to tackle some of these insidious forces by ourselves. So there's nothing wrong with aligning ourselves with other groups. And women definitely deserve our recognition, our praise. And that's why on this particular day, I do salute women. Welcome back. On this Women's History Month, the month of March is Women's History Month. And their theme this month is providing healing and hope. Man, if you ever needed healing and hope, I can't think of a time where you needed it more than right now, particularly the healing part. There's so much animosity and discord and strife. People are fighting each other, and some people are feeling hopeless after this pandemic. Now we have a war to add to the fray. Good morning, Brother Barlow. That's a nice young man, I'm telling you. Football man. I think you're down in Georgia. Where you from there, Brother Barlow? Glad to see you this morning. Good morning, Brother Bradley Thomas. Glad to see you this morning. Brother Thomas is an intellectual property attorney, engineer, musician. This man wears more hats than I can care to count. But I tell you what, all those hats are coming in handy now as he runs for the the at-large race in Washington, D.C. And so let's get behind Brother Bradley and push him over the top. I think the election coming up in June. Early voting starts June 10th, and then the regular election, I think a few days after that. So thank you for tuning in, Brother Bradley. See Brother William Maxwell of Idea Gear. What you talking about with it? Responding to one of those stories we were talking about earlier. Of course, Marilyn, thank you for tuning in. She said, building a strong economic environment. Yes, yes, yes. We need that in our community. That's right. That's how we're going to make it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Marketing Pulpit. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and I'm here every Friday, bringing you the good marketing gospel, not saving souls. I'm saving businesses. I say that because sometimes when people, they hear the term marketing pulpit, they think I'm a religious show or a gospel show. I mean, my dad was a minister. He was a Baptist minister. He preached in the pulpit in the same church for about 51 years at New Hope Church down in Hamlet, North Carolina. And when I was coming up with the show back in 2010, I was bouncing the idea around. Matter of fact, my buddy William and I, we kicking around some ideas. I sent him a few suggestions to him to mull over. He said, that pulpit one, that's the one. I said, okay, you think that's the one? Yeah, man, go with it. That's all right. So I put it out there because I was doing it to honor my dad, who was in hospice at the time. So anybody wondering why I'm the marketing pulpit and am I a minister? I am not. I am a chaplain, though. I'm a licensed chaplain. So if anybody needs to get married out there, I can take you over the broomstick. But I am not a minister by trade. I am a minister of business development. That's my ministry. And you can find out more about me. You can just Google me, daggone. Just Google Robert Gatewood or marketing pulpit. And you'll see I've been out here doing the work. I'm not just a talking head, ladies and gentlemen. See, I don't just talk about business either. I'm trying to save us. I mean, I'm trying to make a difference. I'm on a mission. This show is just part of my ministry and my mission. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not just up here trying to get customers. I already told you, I have enough clients. That's not my reason for being here. If nobody out here calls me, I'm fine. I'll be fine. But if you don't go out here and start these successful businesses, I'm not going to be fine. Now, if you need me to help you, I'll be willing. But I'm very, very selective. I'm glad to work with good brothers like Bradley Thomas and Brother Brown and Bernadette at BLE and Mr. Neely Fuller and Joe Madison and Tom and Jerry and Sean Smith and Dr. James King. I got my board up here. But I'm going to tell you later on in the show, in the next segment, as I'm reducing my clients, I am simultaneously increasing my sales. I'm going to tell you how to do that too. You're going to say, what you talking about, Willis? You can't do that. I bet you. I'm going to tell you how to do it. So don't go anywhere. Tell you, boy, the thing you can get out of this show. I understand why you want to keep it to yourself. It's like you get a prize. Why you want to share it with the world? And they might end up becoming your competition. That's not the Gatewood way. Reciprocity, sharing, it comes back. It does come back. You got to share and spread it around because our community needs it. Let's talk about what's happening in the work. Let's talk about this war in the workplace. Jesse Smollett, who was an actor on Empire, a couple of years ago, he was accused of fabricating a story of hate crime where he was allegedly attacked by two white men wearing Make America Great hats, called him racial epithets, poured bleach on him, and hung a noose around his neck as he was out getting him a sandwich from Subway on a cold Chicago night, 2:00 in the morning, temperature down into the minus teens. Of course, very few people bought the story. He went to trial. Kim Fox, the prosecutor at the time, pretty much said, all right, buddy, go on about your way. Go on about your business. Well, that didn't satisfy most people. Well, she told him to pay a fine, $10,000 fine, and do some community work. Well, that didn't satisfy most people. So a new prosecutor came in, and he came back to trial again, and he was found guilty. He was sentenced to like $200,000 in restitution and 150 days in jail. And of course, his family and Mr. Smollett have maintained his innocence. He said, I didn't do it. I didn't tie the noose around my neck. I didn't pour the bleach on myself. I didn't call myself the racial epithets. And the African brothers, they were part of the plot to, I mean, it gets kind of, I've done all I can, that's the best, as deep as I can go in this, okay? I think I've done okay. But the point is, the 150 days in jail became a contentious issue. And of course, the family who's maintaining his innocence along with Mr. Smollett, they're not just saying that the sentence was unjust. They're saying that he didn't do it. And so many people who have come in to decry the sentence have also been accused of supporting his subterfuge. And so we've gotten people like Journey Smollett, which is his sister, who's also a well-known actress. She came out and said he didn't do it. Then Taraji P. Henson came out this week, and she said the sentence wasn't fair. The punishment did not fit the crime. And she was pretty much scoriated on the internet. People like, girl, this is not the hill to die on. And just yesterday, Tina Lawson, Bay's mother, came out and said, this not work. That's not right. Now, I stated early on that I didn't necessarily believe the story that he was attacked, but I did say that I didn't think the punishment fit the crime. And I still stand by that. I think the story is a stretch. Just some things didn't add up. But like I said, I'm not the judge. I'm not the jury. I'm not Mr. Smollett. So my opinion is just my opinion. But I do concur that long as Donald Trump is walking free, and some of these folks that he's been working with, as long as they're walking around, it's hard to justify putting a young man in prison for as egregious and as wrong as what he may have done. It just seems an imbalance of justice. I'm not supporting Jesse and what he did, but I do believe that there's just much bigger fish out here. Much more egregious crimes have taken place. So anyway, that's my take on that. Another story that's getting a lot of airtime is Kanye and Kim Kardashian. Kanye and Kim, they have 4 children together. The oldest one, Northwest, and Kanye somehow feeling that he's been not giving all his rights. He can't see his kids when he wants to. He's saying his kid he didn't want his daughter to wear lipstick on TikTok. And so that's been kind of an ongoing grievance. Many people, though, have accused him of really harassing Kim Kardashian. Some very notable people, D.L. he came out and said he thinks it's going to lead to violence. Trevor Noah, he came out, did a whole 10-minute piece on his show. And he said, back up, Trevor, back up, Kanye, this is not right. Kanye responded with the term kumbaya, and now he got suspended off Instagram for 24 hours for being, they call it hate speech. And now Steve Harvey has jumped in. I guess celebrities have to celeb. They've got to jump on these topics. But I call this, contextual marketing. So I can't blame them because I did a whole show, maybe a week or two ago, talked about how contextual marketing works. How if you have content or some relevance to a news story, then jump on the bandwagon. It's gonna give you put a little oxygen, a little air in your tank, air in your balloon, a little oxygen in your tank. So that's what they're doing. Now some are sincere. I think Trevor, he said his mother was actually killed by an ex, shot in the head. So everybody has their stories, but I think some of these celebrities they jump on the bandwagon. But I don't really have a big problem with that, particularly if it's something that's going to help mitigate abuse. Somebody who's abusing women or potentially has to abuse women. Matter of fact, one of my clients, Mildred Muhammad, she's the ex-wife of the DC sniper. That's one of her platforms. She talks about how abuse without scars, that you can't abuse somebody without putting your hands on them. And many people feel like that's what's happening because sometimes that verbal abuse does lead to physical abuse. So that's been a hot topic. I do understand that Kanye has had some challenges. He lost his own mother many years ago. But I do think that sometimes you just got to take this stuff off the internet. You're not going to solve it. I say that to Kanye, Kim, and everybody else. Just go behind the doors, talk to somebody, get your lawyers, your mediators, or whomever. But you do have to admit, it makes if you're an entertainer, entertainers have to entertain. So don't hate the player, hate the game. Okay, what else is going on? A Wisconsin dentist was convicted of breaking patients' teeth, charging them fees to fix the teeth, then collecting the insurance money. Wait a minute, hold on. What is it? Epluribum non-secure. I think it's first do no harm. Isn't that the what doctors supposed to do? The Hippocratic oath, primum non-secure. Well, that's definitely not doing. That's definitely runs counter to the Hippocratic oath. He broke the people's teeth, charged them a fee to fix it, and then collected the insurance money. I'm curious though how he broke the teeth. I mean, he didn't punch him in the mouth, did he? Oh, what happened here? How did he get these teeth to be broken in the first place? Okay, he started by selling the patients crowns. And while he was in there, I guess he broke a few more teeth. And then he took a drill. Oh my God, that sounds painful too. Oh boy. Now, can we blame this one on the pandemic? Is that a case of lockdown-itis? It's definitely war in the workplace because that's one of your stakeholders. Your customers are one of your key stakeholders. That doesn't make any sense. Well, let's see the next story. Uh-oh. I did not plan this. This is too coincidental. Texas man accused of fatally shooting 2 dentists at a clinic. Wait a minute. This wasn't in the same city, was it? No, the other one was in Wisconsin. These were in Texas. This man had a anger at the clinic and the staff. This guy named Stephen Alexander Smith, 40 years old. I guess he didn't get the treatment he needed. I hope he wasn't that guy was drilling, breaking people's teeth, but it wasn't the same dentist. Hopefully he didn't read about that story. But anyway, this guy became angry at the clinic and the staff. He retrieved his handgun from his pickup truck, returned to the lobby, and opened fire, shooting 2 doctors, 2 dentists. I tell you, I really believe that many of these things that we're seeing, it is a result of the lockdown. I've heard, we've been doing this segment now for almost a year, war in the workplace. And even though there's always been instances of people doing things that are untoward, that just don't seem rational, but we've seen a proliferation during this pandemic. And here is another instance. And that's why we start this segment called War in the Workplace. And if you want to go back and look at some of the shows, we've done it for the last year. And some of these shows, with some of those stories, will absolutely blow your mind about the problems we've seen on the airlines, people punching out the teeth of the flight attendants, the TSA agents, and the poor people in the drive-through renders and the restaurants. They've gotten the worst of it. We've got to do better, ladies and gentlemen. The reason I do this segment, one, because I don't want you out here doing it. I know there's nobody in this audience. You're not going to be out here shooting dentists and breaking people's teeth and some of this other stuff that's really uncalled for. But at the same time, I've been asking my clients not to be the one to escalate. Get yourself into a safe place where calmer heads can prevail and plan your action. Plan your next act. You can't do that on the side of the road or in a restaurant or somebody who's facing you with a gun. And nowadays, you don't know who has a gun. So just step back a minute. I'd like to see you guys back here next week. I'd like to see you. We got business to do. We've got companies to build, staff to hire, people to put to work, foundations, economy to create. And we can't do that if we're on the wrong end of one of these crazy arguments. So just don't be the one to escalate it. I mean, that's hard sometimes. Somebody cut you off or call you the N-word or step on your new Timberlands. No, that's crazy. There's no justification there. But I'm saying you gotta step back from this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. All right, we're gonna come back in a minute. You're gonna be shocked by this next segment. This is our marketing sermon for the day. We're gonna talk about how you can make more money with less clients. And why would you want to do that in the first place? Less hair, less stress. I can give you 100 reasons, but I'm not going to give you 100. I'll give you a few. So hang on a second. We'll be back in a minute. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we'll be back in a minute. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more, they should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. I had somebody ask me the other day, said, Gatewood, I want to hire you to do my branding for me. Where do I get started? I said, you have already started, I hope. How are you treating your customers? How are you treating your staff? Are you making a difference in society? What kind of service are you putting out here? You're already branding whether you know it or not. The key is it the type of branding you want? You are messaging in every decision you make in your company. That logo that people claim to be the brand is just the iconic representation of the brand that you've already developed. Does the brand that you have already started represent where you want to be? All right, ladies and gentlemen, hang on one second. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and we're going to talk about how you can increase customers, increase sales while decreasing clients. I know you say, wait a minute, don't those two things run counter to each other? Don't go anywhere. We're going to talk about that in a minute. We'll be right back. I'm not busy. I'm just in another era. Lock the refrigerator door. Do not let negativity have another bite. Don't feed it. If we know that women are carrying the burden, they should be paid more, they should be given more flexible work hours. I may stop at some period, but as long as folks back the food, got to talk about it. All right, welcome back. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. Some of you out there right now are working yourself to death. I'm just going to tell it like it is. You are working hard. Now, I'm a guy who's not afraid of hard work. Anybody knows me. Did this guy ever sleep? Does he know what a bed looks like? Well, I do, but I'm telling you, I have spent my life doing a lot of work. And the older I get, I know it sounds kind of cliche, but it is some truth that the older you get, the wiser you get. You start doing things a little smarter. And so one thing I've discovered is that volume is not necessarily the best thing in everything. Sometimes quality is better than quantity. And this just may be the case when it comes to your clients. Now, when I first started my company, I had this goal of just building this behemoth, this empire. I want clients all over the world. I want to be marketing for everybody, every state, and every corner of the globe. And once I realized what a monumental task that was, I thought, all right, maybe I don't want to be marketing for everybody, but I still want a certain number of clients. And now, as I started even thinking about it even further, I'm saying now I got to weigh the goal. What is my objective now? What am I trying to do? Then I remember a few years ago, one of these workshops that I'm always giving, I'm talking about these two acronyms. One called CPA, the cost per acquisition of a customer, what it costs to get a customer. And the second one is this thing called LTV, lifetime value. Not LTD, that's Jeffrey Osborne. One night, people say I look like Jeffrey Osborne. So LTV stands for lifetime value. In other words, how much money is that customer going to spend with you over the course of your engagement? We call that LTV. So it brings up this question: why would you want to have less customers in the first place? And how can you have less customers and still make more money? Those are not opposing thoughts. They actually they support each other. The first thing of having less customers is there's less overhead, less staff to deal with them, less space you need, less the overhead in general. When you have a smaller customer base, you benefit from lower overhead. That's just a fact. Also, your advertising costs go down when your goal is not to go out here and get more and more customers, because what you're going to be doing is getting more money from the existing customers, and the acquisition of bringing an old customer back is much lower than bringing in a new customer. So the acquisition costs and advertising costs, your CPA, goes way down. Now, another thing is that when you start focusing on your existing customers, you take full advantage of this thing called brand loyalty, brand equity, because these clients that you've been working with for many, many years, they will spend a ton of money with you. It's amazing when they realize that you are a priority, and you out here chasing these little ones and twos customers who's working you to death, and you have people in your hand. You have that golden key in your hand that we talked about earlier. These folks are willing to reward you for that special attention. You know who they are, you know what they like, you know what they don't like. You've studied them for the past 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. So why wouldn't you focus on them and get more money out of them than out here chasing other people like a dog chasing a rabbit? And I'm going to tell you this last one. You're going to find yourself a lot less stressed. Now, I must say this formula applies more to service type industries than, let's say, retail. I mean, if you selling shirts, it's not going to work. You selling t-shirts, you need to go out here and find as many people you can to sell those shirts to. Now, it helps. It helps to have some loyal customers, but how many shirts can you wear, right? You got to go out here and get some new people. You got to bring in the volume. You got to find some cheap levels, some low cost per acquisition advertising mediums, and you got to churn those people through. But if you have a service like mine, where you have a long sales process, onboarding, quite a bit of work, you got overhead, you might consider, say, look, maybe I don't need 100. Maybe I can do better with 20. Okay. Now, how do we achieve this? All right, we've made the case on why you might benefit from it. How do you go about it? Well, I've been saying this for many years. You constantly, always, as long as you are in business, you should be building your brand. And this puts an exclamation point on it. You've got to be building your brand at all times. Even in this period where you're saying you're not trying to grow your client base, you're still building your brand, because we've done shows on branding. And one of the things that we talked about is that, one, people spend more money for a good brand or well-known brand than a brand that's not well-known. The other thing that we've discovered, that people will buy more. They will repeat buy more and more from a well-known brand. So if you get that branding element nailed down, this is the beginning of that process of getting more money out of less customers. So number one, first way to do it is to upsell. Okay, you sold somebody something and they liked it. You did a good job. Sell them the higher version, the next level. You sold them the economy brand. Now let's go to the next brand. You gave them the free sample or the trial version. Now let's go to the paid version. You sold them the $10 a month version. Now let's sell them the $25 a month version. So you upsell an existing service, the same exact service, but then you sell them up to the next level. Now, many people don't do that. That's a basic minimum. That if you're not working, if you don't have time to put into your company to nurture these clients, you don't know when it's time to upsell somebody. because you're so busy out here chasing these little small companies and little small jobs that's not going to pay you. So upselling is the first thing. You take the product that you sold them and sell them the more, the next level version, the higher version. That's the first one. The next one is called cross-selling. Okay, they bought product A, but product B is a good supplement to that same product. They bought A. So this is different from upselling. Upselling is the same product, just at the higher next level. Cross-selling is a different product. The same company, but it's a different product. It's like if I'm selling Tide, now I'm going to sell you some fabric softener, okay? If I'm selling you a hamburger, now I'm going to sell you some fries. That's called cross-selling. Upselling would be I sold you the 59-cent burger off the value meal. Upselling was sending you up to the Big Mac or to the Whopper Junior. So, or the next level. So upselling is one way. Cross-selling is selling you additional products under your label than the one that you bought. Okay. So that's another way. We're talking about how you can get more money on fewer clients. Okay. Another way is through recurring sales. Now, this has become almost the norm, the given now on these companies on the internet. Man, they turn recurring sales into everything. You go in there, you put your credit card in there, and you get billed for the rest of your life. Matter of fact, this company called Truebill, it's become so popular now that a company was developed called Truebill to help people keep track of all the recurring sales that are going on in their lives now. You've got Amazon Prime, you've got this, you've got that, you got your cable bill, you got Netflix, you got Hulu, you got everything going on. Your domain got to renew every year, your SSL certificate, your hosting account, all these recurring sales. So what, instead of complaining about it, ladies and gentlemen, let's get you in on the action. Look at your service. What can you turn into a recurring service, a recurring sale? You probably have one in your inventory right now that you have not explored. If it's not a tangible service, it could be a consulting service. It could be something that you were selling in the past as a lump sum price. Now you can break it down into an annual or a monthly fee. Sometimes people are more likely to pay a small monthly fee than an annual fee. You know, the annual fee is only $120. You tell them, look, it's only $20 a month. What you've done, you doubled the price just by going from a flat fee to a referring fee. And and now you're going to get it every year. So recurring sales and subscriptions, that's another way. And the last way we're going to talk about today, and like I said, I can go on forever. There are many ways to do this, but I'm telling you my top 4, is referrals. You take those clients, these clients that you have gone out here and harvested and nurtured, and turn them into referral partners. You turn them into people that's going to send you additional business. Now, you've already said, right, Gateway, you don't want more business. You're trying to get less business. But no, let's feed them into one of these funnels, like our recurring sales, like our consulting services, something that where you're not out here doing that chasing, grinding work. So use that goodwill, that strong brand to go out here and feed your referral funnel. And those are 4 ways that you can today, I'm telling you, this, folks, is not a theory. This actually works. Upselling, cross-selling, referrals, and recurring sales and subscriptions. You could start tomorrow reducing the number of people you're dealing with, but at the same time, increasing your sales. Now, that requires some work, too, to get it going. But it requires you to do this. Continue to provide good service. Continue to build that brand. And what you're going to see, a reduction in stress, reduction in overhead, while your sales continue to rise. Ladies and gentlemen, that's going to wrap it up for today. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. I'm Robert Gatewood, your host, and I'm here every Friday bringing you the good marketing gospel. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you, everybody who's been supporting the show over the past 12 years. We'll be back next week. Next week, as a matter of fact, we're going to have a special guest. We're going to have attorney Teacher Hillman. She's going to talk about some business law. And so we're going to start bringing in some of our we've always had guests, but we're gonna start putting guests back on the agenda. I get calls practically every week, somebody trying to get on the show, but I'm going to go ahead and do it. So next week, we're going to kick it back off. We're going to bring in attorney Teacher Hellman. She's going to talk about some things in the business legal field. And what I want like you to do is come back next week, tell somebody, share this show. And also don't forget to subscribe to our podcast. Go to YouTube and subscribe to our Marketing Pulpit channel if you haven't already. And then come back here next week and let's do it again. This is the Marketing Pulpit Show. And if you want to be successful, you have to do these 3 things. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you got to do it right. Enough talk, let's get to work. But what the Marketing Pulpit is about is strategy. Use social media. People don't understand marketing. You can't stop every time the money runs out. You need to come on and tell people why your service is different. Why is everybody so angry? Airline passengers biting the TSA agents. I mean, it reminds me of one of those zombie apocalyptic movies. And as a community, collectively, we're going to be taken more seriously if we have that strong economic foundation. Do the right thing, do it at the right time, and you have to do it right. Enough talk, let's get to work.